Hey everyone, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. So as the years have been marching on, the Warcraft universe has got more and more expansive. As we meet friends and foes with ever-increasing power levels, we get teased more and more about what's going on. We've been spoken to in riddles by old gods, their servants, and even titans. There are some really large, fundamental mysteries that are key to the understanding of the big picture. Today, I'm going to delve into what these mysteries are. Let's begin with the origin and nature of the Naaru. So, where the hell does a Naaru come from? We actually don't know, past being told that they've existed for as long as the universe itself has. Xal'atath describes them as being beloved long-lost brethren. They are creatures, basically, that are two sides of the same coin with the void. When they take heavy damage, of course, they turn into a void form, which is something that is exceedingly rare, but it is interesting that they turn into a being that is really the opposite alignment to what they are. Really, they turn into what their fundamental enemy is. And this echoes the Shadow and Light theme that has been cropping up more and more lately. And I expect that we'll ultimately find out something about the Void Lords and the Naaru. Maybe they're two sides of the same coin. Or perhaps that the Naaru's creators are the opposites to the Void Lords. Perhaps they both share some sort of similar origin. There are different types of Naaru, of course, and they indeed do have lineages. The most powerful Naaru appear to be the Prime Naaru, such as Xera. Other Naaru seem to come from the Prime Naaru, but we don't really know how. For an example, we know that Oros is of Xera's lineage. I expect that Blizzard is going to attempt to pull the rug out from under us at some stage with the Naaru, given how tied they are to the fundamental threat currently of the Warcraft universe, and how they are really just shrouded in mystery. I mean, really, everyone just takes them at their word. No one seems to question them. Next, we have a Loon. So, a Loon is a strange case. Velen speculates that she is actually a Naaru. However, later on during Legion, Khadgar finds out something quite different, or at least suggests. In an old book, it is speculated that a Loon created the Prime Naaru during the ordering of the Shadow and Light, basically the beginning of the universe. This puts Loon as the creator of the Naaru, which would make her essentially some form of fundamental force in the universe, a type of being that we simply do not know anything about. Would this make Loon a counterpart to the Void Lords, or a member of some group with a similar power level? It's hard to know. Looking at the Pillars of Creation, there actually is another plot thread here. Each one is named after a titan. You have the Eye of Aman'Thul, the Tidestone of Golganeth, the Hammer of Khaz'goroth, the Aegis of Agrimar, whatever. And then there's the Tears of Loon, which would sort of put Loon as being a titan. Now, it could be that Loon is the name of the titan world soul in Azeroth, which certainly would be quite the revelation indeed. Personally, though, I think she is either a counterpart to a Void Lord, or is some sort of expression of the Azeroth Titan, which is the most powerful Titan that is known. It's probably something that we will find out within the next few expansions anyway. And next we have Nile Otha. Nile Otha has been spoken about for years by old gods and their affiliates. Once again, our friend Xal'atath talks about it, Il'gynoth talks about it, and of course, famously, the puzzle box of Yogg-Saron. They've all spoken about it, yet we don't really know what it is. When in Suramar, Xal'atath tells players that the city pales in comparison to the grandeur of Nile Otha, and the puzzle box does indeed say that it is a city. The puzzle box also sort of suggests that it's underneath the sea. Now when he dies, Il'gynoth says, "N'Zoth, I travel to Nile Otha." So it is clear that this is a place that exists. The question is whether it is on Azeroth or not. It has been speculated to be a city underneath the oceans of Azeroth. I do have to wonder if it is something that's just related to the Azerothian old gods, though, because we know that old gods are essentially a parasite spreading across the universe, corrupting Titan world souls. Could it be that Nile Otha is something that they all know about, somewhere that they all come from? It's really quite hard to know, because right now we're mixing Cataclysm-era lore with more modern post-Chronicle lore, and there are times when they don't exactly line up. Whatever happens, though, I'm pretty damn certain we'll see Nile Otha at some stage. Somewhat related, we have the Black Forest. This is definitely related to the old gods, and really Nile Otha is something that's got a lot more coverage, but the Black Forest has kind of been referenced a lot. The puzzle box of Yogg-Saron says, "The silent, sleeping, staring houses in the black woods always dream. It would be merciful to tear them down." And this is essentially lifted from H.P. Lovecraft's 1921 short story, The Picture in the House. This is a short story that involves a cannibal with an unnaturally long life, which isn't too relevant, but it does mention houses and the Blackwoods. I would imagine it's just sort of lifted to sound like a spooky quote. That said, it is one of the stories which began basically Lovecraft's version of New England, which is somewhere that, say, Arkham is in and happens in... It just is involved with a lot of his different mythos. So maybe there's some sort of thing going on there, some sort of parallel or inspiration. Moving back to the puzzle box, though, it also says, "There is a little lamb lost in dark woods." It also says, "Look around. They will all betray you. Flee screaming into the Black Forest." And the giant rook watches from dead trees. Nothing breathes beneath his shadow. All rather mysterious, spooky things. Later on, Nile-Otha, in the desecrated image of Gorehowl, whispers to you, saying, "When you walk among the Black Forest, you will see." Now, people have in the past thought that this could be related to the Emerald Dream, which itself is heavily inspired, seemingly, by Lovecraft's Dreamlands. However, there is a problem. The Titans created the Emerald Dream. The old gods were there before the Titans, so the Black Forest and Nile Otha probably predate the Titans' arrival on Azeroth. It could really be any number of things, perhaps another plane of existence, or it could, of course, the Nile Otha itself could be in the Black Forest. Currently, we only have hints to go off, but whatever the hell happens, pretty damn interested to see. Next, the origin of demons. So, demons have a bizarre origin, and really some of what we actually know about them has been changed in patch 7.3. Demons seem to have formed, based on the lore, of the interaction between shadow and light, and how it created the twisting nether. However, in patch 7.3, and spoiler warning by the way, we do find out that the Legion resurrects demons using the power of the Argus World Soul, which seemingly contradicts all lore, saying the demons their spirits return to the Twisting Nether and they can come back again. It could be the case that this whole Argus energy thing could just be speeding up the resurrection of demons, but anyway, that's one bizarre change. Moving back to the Light and Shadow theme, well, Light and Shadow seem to be some of the most fundamental forces in creation, and it seems as if Arcane, Fel, and the other types of magic sort of arose from their interaction. Many of the demon races are just normal creatures corrupted from the Fel. Some other ones are actually corrupted Titan creations. However, we do know that there are demons which have existed since the very beginning. Much like the creation stuff earlier in this video, one has to wonder what is going on here, and if there could be more to their origin. Titans are seemingly the embodiment of the arcane, which would place demons themselves as the embodiment of the Fel. Was there something larger there behind the Fel? Did either group have an origin or a creator? Again, a lot of questions that may be answered in the future. I also want to mention time. What the hell is going on with time in this universe? It is a complete damn mess. It really is. So, Aman'Thul seems to have had some sort of power over time, as he empowered Norz-Dumu, giving him some of that power. Now, time normally does flow in a straight line, but it seems like the Twisting Nether can pretty much offer access from any point in space and time to any point in space of time. Then there's whatever the hell happened with Warlords of Draenor, where some demons were duplicated. Other ones came from the main universe. Apparently the Legion transcends all, and the Twisting Nether transcends all, so what's going on there? It really is a complete clusterfuck. It's a complete clusterfuck. Aman'Thul is apparently someone with a great amount of control over time, and hell, even Illyria and Turalyon have stated that they've spent millennia fighting the Legion, even though they've only been away for 24 years of Azerothian time. Perhaps this is less of a mystery and more of a mess, but I think it raises so many questions that, you know what, it earns a place on this video as a big damn mystery that maybe they could try to explain at some time, or maybe just pretend none of it happened. I think the latter is probably the easier option. And finally, the reverse of Azeroth. So, for a long time, people have wondered what is on the other side of Azeroth. Many said that the game map might actually just span the entire globe, but that seems quite unlikely now that Argus has given us a bit of a better look. From the point of view of Argus, you can see that the Maelstrom is in the middle, you can see Northrend to the north, and then you can see the sides of Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms to the west and the east. When the planet does spin to the opposite view, though, you see a decent chunk of both of the main continents, and a really unclear view of the space between them. It's covered in storm systems and stuff like that, and they've done it so that you can only see the northern hemisphere. There doesn't appear to be anything massive there, and really it's more like the back third of Azeroth than the back half, but That said, it is said that ships that sail there do not return. Something must lead to their destruction, so something is probably going on. Once again with Nile Otha, a lot of people have speculated that it is to do with the back half of Azeroth. Could be that there's a land being shrouded in something. Generally, something spooky going on there for sure. But overall, there we go, a look through some of the larger questions that are hanging over the Warcraft universe. Personally, I'm the most interested in finding out what the hell a Loon is, because really, it seems like that is, something that is important enough to create the primal Naaru, like Xera, is clearly a pretty damn major force in the universe, and something that would be very interesting to hear about. Now, this video and much of what I've been doing over the past few months has been possible due to everyone over on Patreon. They've allowed me to bring on an editor, meaning that pretty much we can spend almost twice as much time on each video, which is pretty damn sweet, and we can also spend a lot more time on picking interesting topics and making longer videos. So, thank you for watching, doubly thank all of them for helping me out with getting Connell on board, and I'll see you next time.